Welcome to the dirt. I'm Gray. That's Nicole. We're doing this live because my schedule's insane and I didn't want to record for an hour and then edit. So I was like, you know what, Nicole? Let's just go live and see what happens. Hi.
Hi, how the heck are you?
I'm great. How was your week too?
Oof. It was very busy. There was a lot of softball going on. And also, I think this is the most ironic thing. I was actually not even doing anything softball related Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
But
Nothing softball related. Guess where I was?
were you running another marathon, you psycho?
No, but that's in a few weeks.
Oh, great. Okay.
I like how you said that sarcastically, but like that's actually something. I am running the LA Marathon. And I think of my spring and like the weekends of like certain games. So like that is not March 15th, 16th, 17th. That is the weekend that Penn goes up to UCLA. And so like in my head it's that weekend. It's not the date.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Well, that's kind of how this rolls. Like once you're in softball season, you're not actually aware of what day or time anything is. It's either
not.
game day this weekend or day to get ready for game day. So, for example, tomorrow is day to get ready for the Bama Bash and also get a haircut because we're starting to lose it over the ears over here. If you're new here on the dirt, hi. This is a space where we just kind of talk about everything.
It's a
Softball,
safe space.
it is a safe space. We are sometimes holding space, and we are more than capable of going for a while about basically anything. But now we have a chat feature because we're live. So if you're tuning in, please ask questions. Do anything.
Please.
I do have a couple things on my itinerary that I wanted to
Ooh.
ask Nicole about. The first chat we got was from Xavier. I think Gray needs to include a picture from his childhood for this pod's thumbnail, or has he always been an old man with his khakis and polos?
The people want to know. And by people, I mean me and
Do I
Xavier.
have any childhood pictures in this room? I don't.
Do you have any on your phone?
I'm sure I do. Hopefully, right?
You know, speaking of childhood pictures while you're looking, my cousin
I have one that'll
texted
make
me.
Sooner fans happy because I'm
Oh gosh, are you
crying.
wearing OU?
No. Although that does remind me, I am also going to try and rep a different school in some capacity each show. So, schools out there, if you're tuning in, you want to send me a shirt, go for it because tonight we are repping the Mercer Bears,
Hey,
Mercer softball. So,
that is
shout
a
out to Lindsay
crazy
Fico and the
looking
Bears.
bear.
Oh, yeah.
That bear has some crazy eyebrow control. Like,
Right?
have you ever seen Just Go With It?
I have.
You know that scene where her eyebrow goes up to like her hairline?
Yes. This is a great Rachel Dratch. Here we go.
Is that you?
That's
Is that
me.
you crying? Why are you crying?
LSU beat us in football in 2005. That was the first year we were good in my lifetime. Things have gone well since, but yeah, that's me. My mom consoling. I don't know who took the picture. All right, Nick Torina. Challenge accepted. I look LSU shirt. I'll wear it. I don't care. I'm gonna wear everything. Let's do all programs. No one's off the table. I will wear a T-shirt for any school. I'll even unzip so that Mercer
Is
can be.
Auburn off the table?
Whoa.
I may personally purchase an Auburn shirt and send it to you, just to see it.
You know, what have I done? That's kind of what's coursing through my head right now. Xavier, this is a T-shirt.
You've done damage to yourself. That's what you've done.
He asking, is he wearing a collared shirt and khakis? This is a T-shirt. So not only am I
But
totally no comment. I'm not standing up and showing you my pants.
That's a yes. You're wearing the khakis.
Oh my gosh. Uh-oh. And now I'm getting texts. Hey, I'll wear Softball America stuff too, Tara.
Hey, okay, Tara.
All shirts
Actually,
are on. This is the casual pod.
this is a
So
sneak peek, but these are pictures, and that's it. That's all I can show. These are pictures. These are actually going to be out at Mary Nutter. So
yes, I am,
if
Xavier.
you want some Softball America gear, it's right there.
Xavier asked if I was wearing khakis and a polo in the crying picture when I was 8, and that is correct.
I think it's a uniform. It's a lifestyle choice. It's a
Yeah.
personality trait.
I
At
am
this
who I
point,
am. I am Dad, and I have been for a long time. That was my nickname in college. I've told you that story.
yeah, just yeah.
Yeah, and we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
Real quick softball thing before we get too off the diverted path. How much softball did you catch this weekend, Mindy?
0 on watching. I caught a lot on Twitter though. I was on Twitter just scrolling through it. So what I was doing this weekend, I was actually working with Triple Crown, and I did my first ever sideline for volleyball.
Ooh,
So that was a lot of fun. But I'm pretty sure it was the Arkansas play-by-play that was calling the volleyball matches as well. So got to see him. But it was a lot of fun, and I was doing social media for them. So I was running around like a crazy person, and I didn't realize how loud volleyball tournaments were. We were in a convention center. There were 600 teams, a little around like 8 to 10,000 girls playing, and a lot of whistles. A lot of whistles just echoing around. So no softball watching for me, but just Twitter updates all the way through.
gotcha. I saw a lot of softball. I was in Clearwater, as well described, and let me tell you, the scaffolding remains
Undefeated.
fun but treacherous.
Yes.
Especially on Sunday post rainstorm. That was an adventure because
Absolutely.
we didn't know. So Alabama Oklahoma State was supposed to start at 6:00 Eastern. We did not get confirmation that the game was going to actually happen at 6 until about 5:20 ish.
Oh, you were the team.
All of us, like everybody, like we had not been told there would be a delay.
Venue.
Right. We had not been told there had been a delay, but we also hadn't been told there wouldn't be a delay. So
like a weird holding pattern.
Yeah, and it was still like raining in spurts, so we're sitting there, and then we finally get all right, they're pulling the tarp, time to go. So we go on the air at 5:45. So we have 25 minutes. So Tom and I divide and conquer. Tom goes to do the pregame interview with Coach Murphy. I go to set up the equipment. That means that I'm lugging our 45-pound case up the scaffolding.
Just like Santa Claus or something.
I on a slippery ladder on the scaffolding. And yeah, let's just say it got a little hairy. A couple times. I had to like completely dry off everything and make sure everything was set up. The ESPN crew did a great job making sure that everything was still there and covered, and I just had to take a tarp off. But yes, the getting the equipment up the scaffolding, no video exists of that, and thank goodness, because
but there is a video that does exist, and I know it because you sent it in the Dirt group chat, and I think
I'm not posting that.
You should show it. I
No,
think people should comment and ask for this video of Gray. And as a preview,
do not. I will mute your camera. This is why I'm not going to send you stuff. This is why we shouldn't be live.
This is exactly why we should be live. Just straight up exposure. Gray, this is too good. This is too good.
I'm not showing that video. I'm not doing it.
What would it take?
It would take. We'll do that for the 100th episode of The Dirt. I'll make a sad Gray GoPro compilation.
Sarah McLachlan will be like singing in the background.
Yes, if we have the rights to Sarah McLachlan. Sarah, we'll give you a call.
Sarah, please.
In the arms of the angel that I Yeah, sure.
I
100th
just
episode of A Dirt. I will share on this pod a sad gray compilation from the GoPro, because you see all the good things. Sometimes things don't go the way we plan, and that's all on camera too.
okay.
This is mean.
That was I'll just say it. That video was hilarious, and I think I watched it about 12 times. I was respectfully cracking up. You care.
Yes, I care about a
I
lot of
know.
things.
Yeah.
I invest my heart and soul into the people who matter to me.
Solid. I love it.
Yeah. So softball this weekend. Did you catch any of the Nyjah Teagan pitch off on Friday night?
I was watching highlights.
Yeah.
And I was texting with Chris Brown, their SID, and I was like, I need live updates because this is insane. Teagan was insane. Kennedy, insane. Like, and then the ending, I was like, I feel like that was one of those where
like, so what would you have done if you were the player? If you were, I believe it was
one?
Hunter who got hit in the face. What would you have been like in that moment? What is going through your head if you're still thinking because you just got hit in the head?
Whenever it gets to that point in the game, as an athlete, you were just like, whatever it takes, like whatever it takes. So as soon as I get clocked, like right about here, and I'm like, oh gosh, that hurts. But then I turn around because I saw that she like turned around and everyone was kind of like, what's going on? I know that's a live ball. Just like if I were to be sliding at second or anything, like we know that's the live ball. So as soon as I see my teammate come into home with her hands raised and she's like, woo, automatically I'm like, it doesn't even hurt. I just won the game. Was it the prettiest hit? No. Did I get hit? Yes. Do I care? No, because we just grinded out this win and I don't even feel it anymore. All I feel is adrenaline. Big time dub. You're like that's personally, that's what would have been going through my head.
Xavier asks a question. Xavier, popping in the chat. Hi. Although the Texas base runner was in legal position, do you think she got in the way on purpose? I don't.
No, because I would never willingly put my throat into that position.
It seems like a lot of different ways to secure the win.
She was in there, and I do think there's some like logic to, if you're a runner, like I have to be in the base path. So if I'm running, like I'm not going to veer out unless somebody's going to tag me. So I'm not going to move from the base path. But that throw was a little weird. Like I think like it didn't come out of the hand right. And so whenever that throw happened, it was just kind of like a weird throwing angle because she didn't move into it. So no. Yeah, I don't think so.
No, that seems like a lot of pain for like the gain of winning, but also I believe there was still nobody out. So I don't know. I think it was going to work out for Texas in that moment. Teagan was great. She was just straight up missing barrels and then getting Texas Tech to chase stuff. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the Texas Tech offense. They have not looked cohesive, I would say. But then again, Nicole, we kind of been on the same page about Texas Tech, and that was one of our concerns.
Yeah. You know who did look really good, and I'm calling out Brady on this because I was high on Nebraska. I was high on Nebraska preseason, and I was like, there's something about them. They got this little like juicy vibe, and I know Jordy, and I know how she competes. Like, they're gonna be good. They're gonna make some waves. They're gonna cause a bit of a scene. Brady.
I want the Nebraska, whoever the SID is, I'm not sure, and I apologize, sir or madam, that I'm not naming you by name. But I need a Nebraska graphic that says they've got that juicy vibe in big quotes. Hyphen Nicole Mendes.
I'm gonna text Shorty and be like, "Hey, you guys need to make this a thing. Make this your team quote."
So Tom and I, we recorded Out of the Box earlier today. There's your Out of the Box shout out.
There it is.
On tonight's show.
Put one in the, I don't know.
In the swear jar.
Real money off of this. Like put $1 in the Out of the Box pod jar.
Yeah, make sure you're liking and subscribing. Speaking of dollars and jars, liking and subscribing all Softball American content. If you want to send us a super question, that'd be hype. I would answer. That's an auto stop what we're doing and answer.
Absolutely.
But Tom and I did the week 2 regional host draft. So what we did is we get 8 spots and we pick the 8 teams each that we feel most confident would host a regional based on what we know right now. And Nebraska was the team that I got in my 6th position.
Ooh. That's big. That's strong.
Yeah, I feel good about Nebraska. I think they're going to host a regional.
I do too. I got to listen to a coach's call earlier today, and I just think it's a different perspective, but the same mindset that they had last year. Just they got riddled with injuries, and that just, man, nothing's more of a momentum killer than injuries. Mm-hmm. Except for maybe the flu. The flu is just like awful. So are injuries, but
Are you excited for the Nutter this weekend?
I cannot wait for the Nutter. I was just on headset.
So I know.
This is my headset setup. I will be calling Mary Nutter from home, not in California. I'm so sad. But Sydney is there on site. So I was chatting up with her and she was saying she's going to get a ton of content. So I'm so excited about that. But the games, like these, you want to hear my schedule?
Please.
What I'm calling. So tomorrow I'm calling Rutgers versus Arkansas, Cal State Fullerton versus Arkansas, Nebraska versus Baylor. Then Friday I'm calling Rutgers versus Tennessee, Duke versus Nebraska. Literally so excited for that game.
Okay.
Arkansas versus UCLA. I think that will be a good one.
That's one I've circled. We kind of need to find some stuff out about Arkansas. We're going to learn this weekend, especially against UCLA.
Oh, I'm very excited to call them because I just think they have a little bit more underneath their belt this year as far as like experience and stability, and I mean it's showing already, but yeah. And then Arkansas and UCLA. And then Sunday, I'm calling Duke versus UCLA. Another one I have circled. Nebraska and Utah. I don't know why, but I feel like that one is going to be a lot of fun. And then San Diego State and Hawaii. And that is my schedule for the weekend.
I'll send you my San Diego State notes.
Please do. I would love that.
As people saw on ESPNU, Alabama and San Diego State have already tussled here. That might have been SEC Network. I don't know. I was on the radio.
Speaking of tussle.
Oh.
We're going off softball for a second.
Okay.
Did you see the Canada and USA hockey match?
I did not see this.
Did you hear about it?
Yes.
3 fights in the first 9 seconds. I'm like, holy moly. They booed the USA national anthem. The after press conference response, I was like, it was crazy. It was crazy. You should, not you. I still have never watched a full hockey game or been to one in person. Even though I lived in Dallas for 2 years and the Dallas Stars are pretty good.
They're solid.
Yeah. Just never went. But it's on my bucket list. But
I think hockey would be the hardest sport to call.
Oh my gosh. I know.
Can you imagine?
Like, where's the puck? Where did it go?
You just wait for the horn to sound and then yell goal. Or scored. I think that's what
scored.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
Maybe
well versed.
That's soccer.
Here in Alabama, we do not have a ton of ice. We do have a club hockey team that's quite good,
Oh,
but
have
that
you
is the
been?
extent. No, because they play their games about 45 minutes away. I think it's in
Ooh.
Bessemer.
Oof.
So, but one of my good friends who was actually a reporter down here was the coach for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout
Love
out to
that.
James Benedetto, my guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to
Go
answer
ahead.
some mailbag questions?
I would love to.
Okay. If you have
I love
any
this question.
mailbag questions, it can be softball related if you want, or it can be non softball related. We've got one of each.
We will answer mostly anything.
Mostly anything.
Gray will not answer whether he's wearing khakis right now or not, but everything else is pretty much fair game.
No comment. This is from the Hype Man Harry on the X at the Hype Man Harry. Should I get some music for Hype Man Harry?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's see what we got.
It has to be like some kind of like house music, like dubstep.
I don't know if that exists on here.
What exists on here?
They're all AI generated slow. Here's Future Pop for Hype Man Harry.
Future Pop.
All right.
This feels right.
Guy, Hype Man Harry.
I feel like my head was like whiplash. There was so many different like beats mixed together. It was like
AI generated music. I don't know if it's for me. Give me a human. But thank you, Restream. All right, the Hype Man Harry asks, y'all played for and are the broadcaster for a couple of the best coaches in the game of softball. So I want the best coaching story y'all have heard from Pat Agasso at Oklahoma and from Patrick Murphy at Alabama.
Okay. Best coaching story as in, which way do we go with this? Like in our experience of coaching or a story that they told us?
Like, I know that there are a couple that are going in the book one day that I can't share here from like coaching, also because that's not really for me, but I do have some like interaction stuff I can share.
Okay. We'll do personal experience. Then.
Yeah, I think personal experience is probably the way to go. So what you got?
You first. You knew this question. I didn't. You get to go first.
We were both tagged in the tweet. Hashtag ask the dirt.
You wrote it down.
Oh, come on.
You knew it was coming.
Okay. I'll tell the story of the first time.
Paper, scissors? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I'll tell the story of the first time I met Coach Murphy. So in 2017, spring of 2017, I met with the head of Crimson Tide Sports Marketing. I had expressed interest in taking part in radio broadcasts. I had some experience from high school, and I was doing stuff with Crimson Tide Productions. So I was put on the SC Network Plus games behind the camera. And another good question came in that we'll get to in a minute. So I met with Jim Carabin, and he said, would you like to do softball with Tom Canterbury? And I said, great. Who's Tom? Sounds fun. Who's
Tom? What's softball?
I had watched softball. I've been a fan, obviously, 2012, I remembered watching Hawaii walk off Alabama in 2010 while I was at the lake. I had been a fan. So I said, absolutely.
I remember 2012 too. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry. It's okay. Many fun chapters in the Bama Boomer rivalry. The time comes, and the first series I'm going to do is Alabama LSU. I'm going to do game 3. I'm going to sit in with Tom for games 1 and 2, join him as the analyst for game 3. And so I go to practice because in my head, whenever I was in high school, I was like, I go to practice to watch and learn and talk. And so I was like, I'm just going to go by practice. And I go and I wear, Xavier, you're going to love this, an SEC white collared shirt, khakis, and an SEC hat. Because that was just what I was wearing at the time. That was at, the top of the pile. So I show up and I see Coach Murphy, and he's like talking to, I think it was Allison Habits, and then Stephanie Van Brakel Prothro, the other assistants. And I'm like up in the concourse, and I'm like, do
you have your Ray-Bans, your dark Ray-Bans on?
I am wearing my sunglasses. And so I start to like walk down the side stairs, and then I see like the whole team starting to gather, and then they come and all introduce themselves and shake my hand. And so then afterwards, Murph comes up and he's like, "Hey, oh, it's you." I was like, "Yeah, it's me." He's like, "Oh shoot, I thought you were somebody from the conference office." Because that was one of the first times I had talked to Coach Murphy. I had met
Yeah.
him prior, but he didn't know me yet, and I think I made him think I was like someone from the SEC, just like because I'm a tall person. I'm just standing there up at the top, and
Yeah.
that was almost a decade ago, and
Mm,
now he knows me, which
he
is
knows
great.
you.
We're on a first name basis. But that was funny because I was like, oh shoot, I might have. Who knows why a SEC conference office staffer would ever show up at a practice besides who knows what. It's just probably never a great sign. So yeah, we had fun. That was good. That's a good time. What about you with Coach
Yeah.
Gasso?
Um, I will take it back to my sophomore. No, this was my freshman year. Yeah, my freshman year. So Coach Gasso invites the team over to her house, and this is our first official gathering every year in August. So the team goes out to her house. She has a dinner. We kind of talk about like last year, and she's like, "This is the only time we talk about last year." And then we move on, and from that point onward, the rest of the evening, it's all about getting to know your new teammates, getting to set precedent, having fun, playing games, all that kind of stuff. Well, we had a little bit too much fun. And behind Coach Gasso's house, there is a large man-made lake. Coach Gasso has a paddleboard, she has a kayak, she has fishing pole. She always is like, "Yeah, go fishing, kayak, like whatever you want to do." Well, that year, we always have challenges, of course, because we're competitive and we can't not compete, even whenever it's just for fun. Um, so some of our challenges that year were basketball. We had a one-on-one, like each team had one member from their team and they had like a one-on-one tournament. And you sent the representative. If your team won, you got the point. We had two girls jam their fingers. One girl like tore a ligament. Then we had a watermelon eating contest. And again, we're competitive. We took
Who
it a little too
won?
too seriously. Folly of You, she is now coaching at the University of Oklahoma. Folly of You, Steele, because she's married, took it personally, chowed down on that watermelon. That watermelon came back up within 30 seconds. It was
Oh no.
the bushes were fertilized. We had a synchronized swimming dance routine that each team had to do, like our little groups, our little teams that we had to perform for everybody. Um, One of the girls couldn't swim and didn't tell anybody. So she like slipped out of the shallow end, floated away, and we had to like make sure she was okay. And then to wrap it all up, um, going back to the big lake that's behind her house. So every year, University of Oklahoma softball hosts a triathlon. And
Mm.
it's triathlon, okay? There's no more bikes, so we do obviously instead of biking cuz that's too easy, we literally do CrossFit. So it is CrossFit, it is running, and it is swimming. We were working on the swimming portion, and coach said, "For our final challenge, we're going to have a swimming competition, and you and your team have to swim across this lake, and the first one across, like that team gets the point. This is swim practice." So we're all in our life jackets and we're like waddling out there. She's on her kayak. Well, lo and behold, Coach Gasso fights dirty and she's rowing and we're with the life jacket and we're like trying to swim through. And all of a sudden she comes by and she's like spraying you and she's like making waves and all this stuff. And you're like flowing all around. And I'm like, oh my God, she is so mean. Finally get to the other side. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God that is over. And that was the very first time that I met with Coach Gasso on campus. And I just remember thinking, like, what is going on? Oklahoma softball is crazy intense. Like, this is wild. And yeah. And then we ended up winning national championship. So I guess she did something right.
All right, so I got one more Coach Murphy thing. The craziest, you know how there's like the 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 2 degrees of you're from Iowa and somehow you know Patrick Murphy and Patrick Murphy knows someone who knows you. I cannot tell you how many weekends I have been sitting in the Alabama dugout and someone will walk by who'll be like, hey, I'm from Iowa. And Murph will be like, oh, do you know? And he'll be like, yeah, me. And then they'll sit and talk for 10 minutes. And like Grace at Arkansas, the old SID, she had an Iowa connection and she and Murph have talked about that. Like it is the craziest thing. I would say that might be
Iowa.
One of the Iowa. Murph's from Iowa. He went to UNI. And I feel like every opponent Alabama plays, there is someone somehow who is either from Iowa or knows someone from Iowa who knows Murph.
Mhm.
It is one of the like. And anytime Murph will ask me a question like, oh, have you met this guy? Like, do you know him? I'll say, I have not. Is he from Iowa? Like, that'll be my auto response.
And most of the time he's like, yeah, actually
like,
he is.
Sometimes, yes.
Oh, man, I love it. I love it.
All right. Xavier has a question. We wanted to talk about this, so I'm glad you brought it up, Xavier.
Yeah.
Why are softball non-conference games / tournaments called preseason games when in most other sports it'd be called non-conference since they still count towards a team's record? I will say, when I first hopped on the air with softball, I clocked that as well and thought, that's odd. So I don't think I have ever called it preseason or even pre-conference, even though that is kind of more aligned to non-conference than preseason. But that's also because I am a like football trained Southerner. Like that's, we refer to non-SEC games as non-conference games. As a softballer, Nicole, what do you say about this?
Well, everyone at OU just called it preseason, and so I did too. I mean, in my head, the way it works is preseason is one of the most important parts of your season. Like conference, obviously, like that's just a grind, but preseason, at least for the teams, like teams that aren't in the SEC or Power 5, you have so many opportunities to make moves. So in your head, before season actually, even though it's kicked off, in my head, preseason is whenever.
Wait, pause. We got a super chat.
Super chat.
Super chat. James, I'm late. Go FSU. It's not a question, but it's a super chat, so it's an auto pause put on.
Auto pause. I called Florida State and Puerto Vallarta. So good. Their defense was horrible the first few games. Horrible. But after that, so good. Like so solid. It was the first few games. Like obviously not everything's going to be running efficiently. And I can't be like they were fantastic the entire weekend because they weren't. And if you ask them, they would probably say the same. But they figured it out. And towards the end of that tournament, they looked so efficient and they figured it out defensively. Pitching was fantastic. Offense, they really strung together a ton of hits and like you could see their lineup shift and it started to feel more routine. But yeah, and then obviously this past weekend, just holy tanks.
Fire.
Tanks.
Kenny Harp out here hitting 706, I believe is what it is. Off the top of my hand.
Fan.
You're a harpoon? I don't know. What
Harpoon?
Would no. A harp. What are the people who play the harp? The harpist? Yeah.
I'm a harpist.
You're a harpist.
Isa Torres, big fan of her. Whenever she was in travel ball, I worked with her travel ball team. That was my old organization, Hot Shots. And I was working with that team on the mental game. And so it's been really cool to see a lot of them are at LSU, a lot at Florida. Obviously, Issa's at Florida State. Oklahoma, Cassidy Pickering was on that team. It was just a whole variety of athletes like all over the country. So it's been really fun getting to see them just freaking crush it. So yeah, Florida State fan right here.
All right, let's get back to the preseason.
Yeah,
Oh,
preseason. No, another pause.
no, but this is good. Nick Torina, a harp throb. That's pretty good. Nick Torina, I will send you a link. You can join us right now. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
All right,
Heartthrob.
preseason
That's too good.
versus
Okay, preseason.
non-conference.
I never really had a reason to call it anything else. I don't know. In my head, preseason is like your season really starts in conference unless you're one of those teams that really, really needs to get those out of conference games in to be able to boost up your RPI, to be able to gain experience, like all those kinds of things. And to me, preseason is you're figuring stuff out as a team. And once you get into conference, you're going to see what it was that you figured out in that first like month and a half of softball season.
Interesting. So it's more of a mentality than actual.
Yeah, like in my head, it was like preseason, conference, postseason, you know? Because at postseason, that if we're going technically, that would mean like season's over. It's like after your season.
Yeah. Okay. I understand a little bit.
My brain is a very special gal and she works quite literally. So whenever you say pre and post, if post makes sense, so then pre would also make sense. And conference is like the season.
All right. We got another super chat.
Super chat?
Super chat. What music can I play for a super chat? Is that where we play Epic?
I don't.
Indie rock?
Ooh, not corporate.
No, not corporate.
What's cinematic?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Minimal house? There's so many. What is this? This feels like something bad's about to happen.
What's going on? Jack Bauer?
I don't like it.
Kiefer Sutherland's about to burst through that door. All right, let's just do a little hip hop and announce the super chat. All right, super chat from James. What?
Do I think Florida State's pitching will hold up? I have an opinion on this, and I called them, but Gray I'm curious about your thoughts. You go first.
So I'm interested because I still want to see a little bit more. Like Annabelle Wiedra has been pretty good to start things off. Mm-hmm. I do wonder how she's going to hold up against teams who see her multiple times. Auburn did not use her very much because they didn't have to. They had Maddie Penta and Shelby Lowe. Oftentimes when she threw, she was only going one time against an opponent. I would have to check and see the stats, how many times teams saw her more than once in her college career. So if she kind of becomes the one who starts a lot on game 1 and game 3, and I'm not even sure that this Florida State pitching staff is going to have a quote unquote ace. I just want to see how she holds up because her location is really good. There's not a ton of actual pitch variety in the game. So that would be kind of the one concern that I have. I did get to meet Jazzy Francic this summer because her travel ball team played one of our summer league teams in Chattanooga. So I got something in my eye. Very, very nice kid who I really enjoyed chatting with for a minute. And we were saying, oh, Florida State comes to Tuscaloosa this year. It'll be good to see you. Can't wait to see how much you develop and get better from now until then. And, watching her pitch that day, it was clear she had some tools. And it's also quite clear that pitching staff, Lonnie and the rest of the coaches and everybody else who kind of, gets involved and talks to the players, that they've really kind of dialed her in. Because a lot of the stuff that wasn't super sharp that one day that I saw her has gotten much more consistent since then. So I've been pretty impressed by her game.
I was about to say, she was the one who stood out to me the most. I really liked her stuff, and I just liked her style on the mound. Like it felt very attacking versus like Wiedra, fantastic. She was more the steady Eddie, like calm, that you want, like that anchor on the pitching staff. But I don't know. I really like them working together as well. And then whenever you have multiple arms being able to come in as relief, come in and start, come in and finish, I think they will hold up. I think the biggest thing for them is going to be defense. Like I really do. Because it just looked like they were a little uncomfortable. And again, I called them the first weekend. And I've just seen them look really solid in the outfield. Uh, but that infield, that second base position, once that gets settled, then I think personally, you could have a great pitching staff and a mediocre defense and struggle. Or you could have a mediocre pitcher and a great defense, and they could do really well. And I think defense helps a lot whenever it comes to a pitching staff,
Mm.
especially if you're going to have a lot of arms in rotation. If Florida State's defense can get phenomenal, and I do think that they have the potential to be. I saw some of the plays that they made, and I was like, holy cow. But if they can get phenomenal, I think it'll be really easy for that Florida State pitching staff to just keep on rolling. Like no sweat, no break in that at all.
I also have
Ah,
concerns about the strength of the ACC beyond a couple teams. Like
mhm,
there could be a pretty significant drop off in that league. So I'm not necessarily sure. I can pull up the schedule right now. I'm not necessarily sure how much FSU's pitching is going to be tested in
mhm.
conference play. Let's see who they've got. Now they
I
do play A&M twice this weekend, which is going to teach us a lot.
Yeah. I will say this though, just speaking from experience playing at Oklahoma in the Big 12, you had a couple of teams here and there, like a couple years it would be OU, Oklahoma State, Baylor, OU, Texas, Baylor, OU, Texas, Oklahoma State. Like it kind of varied around those four teams. Whenever I played there, and those were like the top teams, and there was a little bit more of a drop off with the rest of the teams. And so that preseason was so important on having tough games. And like you said, like they're playing A&M. They had a really tough competition this past weekend, played Oklahoma State twice. They're doing their due diligence. And so even if they're not extremely challenged all the time through conference, I think they're still gonna be fine because you can as a player, you can go back to that moment and you go, "Okay, I remember what this felt like. I remember how tough I had to be," and I can draw on that experience, especially if it's in that season. Um, so that to me with a team, especially with a team like Florida State who has that right mindset, they're not like, "Oh my gosh, like I've never been to the World Series." Like they've been to the World Series. They're a very good team, a great coaching staff who expects to be there. It's not like the first time and they're like, "Wow." They're like, "This is our goal. We expect to be there." I think with a team like them, they should be fine.
I did look at the schedule. There are a couple, some of the trickier ACC series are here. They're at Duke, Virginia at home, at Cal.
Mm,
That is a conference series in
that
2025, and then at Virginia Tech.
I'm just hearing it out loud. I'm like, "Gosh, that is literally cross country."
Yeah, that could be tiring. Cal's okay. Cal's solid. We're still learning. They're trying to
Yeah.
get healthy, and we'll see.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that trip alone,
Yeah,
that's brutal. The time difference alone is awful. Plus, Cal's a good team, so
yeah, yeah. Cal's
yeah.
getting better. Kind of had a shaky week one, but they're getting better.
Mhm. All right, what was the second mailbox question? Or do
All
we
right,
have more comments?
this is a non-ish softball question. We teased this last week. Is it better? We're both single, by the way. Shout out, chat, hit us up. Is it better to date someone in sports or not in sports as someone involved in sports? Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
I don't know. I don't know.
I also am
Okay.
torn. Chat, we would love your take here.
I won't lie. I got on the apps. I got on the
Oh,
apps and I didn't put a single thing about softball on there because I'm like, part of me is like a little nervous.
mm,
Like, I don't know, like, want them to not know who I am. And like, once we meet, obviously they would because it's such a big part of my life. But like, I don't know. But as soon as I see like athlete or sport photos, I'm kind of immediately like, and I don't know if it's because I think this might be it. is everyone knows everyone. Talk about that Iowa like separation, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone in sports. So like if I go on a date with this person, they probably know like 15 of my friends. And then I'm like, what if it goes horribly? And like that, like, I don't know, maybe all of my friends know or like all the mutual acquaintance, like I don't know. It just makes me like a little nervous. Um, I think more so for that reason. But yeah, I don't know. I just like I hesitate over those.
I'm trying to thread the needle of somebody that
What's your experience with somebody working in sports?
of somebody that gets it, like understands the lifestyle, but also
Yeah.
has other interests
Mhm.
as well. Like, trying to be like, we're all trying to be well rounded and whatnot. And like, I, want to be challenged and loved and all those great things. But, I have been in situations where we travel a lot in this job, and there will be
No
times
way.
where I know there will be times where I have to go away for 4 or 5 days. And I have had a person that I guess what the kids call it is a situationship or whatever. She did not like that I was gone for 4 days. I was like, well, this happens most weekends from February to July.
This is my
So
job. I will say it is nice with people in sports that do understand
yeah,
the schedule and there's that, oh yeah, like you're in sports, like I get that. There is that comfortable familiarity there or
yeah.
like relatability, I guess. That's always nice.
So yeah,
Speaking of, a
I
little
don't know. I'm still
bonus.
searching. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna say who, but I got on Raya.
What is that?
It's a it's an app and a
A
dating
dating
app.
app?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or like a sorry, it's not a dating app. It is a networking app. Um
Okay,
yeah, I was like, okay.
sure.
There is there's this football player that I discovered like 4 months ago. Followed him and I was like, cool. A lot of mutual friends. Then a couple months ago, I'd say like not a couple. Last month, I forgot that I had followed him. Pops back up on my Instagram, and I'm like, "Huh, he's kind of cute. He's kind of cute." So then I'm scrolling through it. I'm like, "Actually, he's really cute." And I won't lie, earlier this evening, I was like on Instagram and he popped up again and I was doing some light stalking, very light. And I was like, "Ah, get off Instagram." An hour goes by, I get on Raya. Guess who is on there?
Hmm.
That man that is just but he's also very, very famous, so we'll see. We'll
Oh,
see. Yeah.
is it who we talked about last week after we ended the dirt?
No, no.
Did he happen to just win a Super Bowl?
No, not him. Not him. Uh, if I will have to save another story for another time, but I did get offered flowers on Valentine's Day.
From Jalen Hurts?
No, I wish. But his fiance is beautiful, and I found out, like, more about her, and I was like, "Oh, she's fantastic.
Oh,
I wanna be her friend." Like, no. But it was by somebody else, and that was an experience in and of itself, and I was like, yeah. Anyways, we won't dive too deep into that one. That's a story for another day. No one wants to hear that.
Nick, I don't know what that means.
Wait, what did it say?
You said something. I don't even know. I don't even know what that means. Um, but yes, I'm with you. Is there anything else you want to get to before we stain it up?
I think I really covered the bases this
Mm.
this start. I'm pretty satisfied.
Yeah, there was a like only Nicole question that I can flash this up. Rennie, What are your top 3 favorite games you played all time? Does a 17-inning marathon finish get a nod in that category?
It definitely gets
You'll
nod.
notice that Gray is not mentioned because I famously have not played a damn thing.
I definitely like the 17 inning game. I think has to be number one because like I've never been a part of something like that ever. Like it was just insane. It was insane. There's so much energy. Like I've never seen two teams battle it out quite that long. Um, and it was just like wow, in a championship game, that was insane. Wish it would have been game 2 because OU finally would have won an SB, even though like OU hasn't won an SB. Can you believe that? They literally four-peated this year and
I
they still
can.
haven't gotten an SB.
Not that I wouldn't give one to OU, but I can believe that because I
I'm just
understand
like,
how the SBs work, and it's
it's
unfortunate.
just so
It
frustrating because
stinks,
like
is what it is.
if a women's basketball team had four-peated
I don't think that would have won.
SB, I think
I
it would have.
I
I
think that
think
the
it would have.
Super Bowl is going to do it every year.
Mm.
The Super Bowl or the NBA or something like that's.
I did
It's because it's a
see
fan vote.
I did see a really funny TikTok, and this girl was like, this was right before the Super Bowl, and this girl was like, everybody's hyping up the Chiefs going for the three-peat. And she's like, and yet here I am knowing that Oklahoma won a four-peat yet again. Men do not impress me. Try again. And I was like, oh, it kind of went viral. I was like, if some of my friends had sent that to me and I was cracking up, I was like, that's right. That's right.
ESPYs, give some love to
Give some
softball in the
love.
big categories, please and thank you.
Selfish. Yeah. I would say that one. OU and Washington played in, I think that was 2021, my senior year on ABC. First ABC game.
Oh, in Super.
That was really cool. It was a Supers. It was the first
Yes.
ABC game. Softball
It was a
games
blowout.
aired. It was, but it was really cool to be a part of that moment. And
Yeah.
it was a really big step. For softball as a whole, I mean, like we saw so many games after that being aired on ABC, and it was really cool to be part of those trailblazers who were like the first to take that step. And then senior year 2021 winning it, I think just that moment, and like it was really cool knowing what that team had gone through and how to like bookend our season. I loved that game so much. Yeah. Yeah. I would say those are my 3.
Wait, did South Carolina women's basketball win the ESPY for best team this year?
I believe so.
Did that happen? What? I didn't watch the ESPYs this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you serious? That's hilarious. Wow. I have never said anything that's aged that poorly. Good for them.
That was a coldest take. It's not actually.
Wow, they did win.
It's a lukewarm take.
Good for them.
They're fantastic. But
all right, my bad. My bad on that. That was a mistake from me because I remember growing up thinking like, oh, it would be great if this college team won, and it was always the pro teams that won. So it's cool that a college team actually won best team.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking at it now. That's the first college team to win best team since, the 2001 Oklahoma Sooner football team.
Hey, Boomer Sooner, baby. Boomer Sooner.
How funny. So see, it truly does just come back to Oklahoma.
And that is what we call the Oklahoma effect.
Oh my gosh. 2 degrees separation from the Sooners.
Boomer Sooner, Lonnie Alameda, OU.
Oh boy. Okay, I think it's time.
I think it's time.
Let me play some music to get us there.
I feel like I should.
For the stain. I don't like this one. Do better, AI.
Yeah.
Time for the stain. Nicole, what is your stain for the week?
Well, I had one, but I feel like before I say it, an honorable mention is, "Oh, you're not winning an XP." Like, come on. That just got me, like, kinda crazy fired up.
I'm sorry to bring that upon you.
I'm still, like, not over it. Like, what more do those girls need to do? Plus, like, give softball their flowers, give them some love. Like, you literally four-peated. Anyways, alright,
It's
over
true.
it, over it.
We saw it.
Um, I this is, like, non-sports, non-softball. This is,
Mm,
like, personal life organization, kinda
okay.
boring related, but I have been looking while we're on the topic of AI, I've been looking for a calendar that can just organize my life because I do so many different things. And like I have to have them set up a certain way, like broadcasting is set up a certain way.
Mhm.
My chalk talks, I do mental training talks with teams. I mentioned that earlier. Those have to be set up a certain way. And like the scheduling and getting everything just merged into one. I have not been able to find something that can sync all of those and, like, make it manageable. Um, I don't know why it is so hard for the calendar apps that are out there, and this may be a hot take, but I really don't like Google Calendar. It it fails me often. It fails me often, and it always tries to switch my time to, like, Eastern or Pacific, and I
So
always
are
have
are
to go
you
in and
big on the
manually change.
Apple calendar? Is that
I don't use Apple Calendar. What I have been using that's worked the best, but it's just not super efficient yet, is Notion. Um, and I literally they have, like, an option to put in your calendar,
okay?
but then they made an app called Notion Calendar, and it's okay, like, it's on the works. I found this thing called Motion, and it's an AI assistant, and that one's also okay, but there's just a lot to it. So I'm like, I don't know. So I've been on the hunt and I cannot find anything to organize everything all together. I feel like that was a weak stain, but in preseason, whenever this was my schedule last week, like, let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back.
Walk me through it.
So let's go. I have to pull up my calendar because I don't even remember what happened last Monday. All right, let's go back to last Monday. Last Monday, Tuesday, I worked for the softball and baseball facility that I work at in Houston. Then I had several coaches calls over those 2 days. And I was also communicating with Triple Crown because my weekend trip was coming up. Also, I was working with my marketing team for the Chalk Talks. Then Wednesday started games. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was broadcasting games. Then Saturday, I fly out to Kansas City and I'm working with Triple Crown Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And that is all day. Monday night, my flight gets canceled. So I'm trying to work and like get back, but I can't. I end up having to push my flight till Tuesday morning. I miss some of my coaches' calls on Monday. And because I flew back on Tuesday, I miss coaches' calls on Tuesday. Then I get back Tuesday. I do all that stuff. I go to work. I go to work today. Had to also take coaches' calls. Had a chalk talk tonight. Have to record the dirt. Then
Hey,
tomorrow,
hey, hey.
Saturday, all of
Get to
that.
record the dirt. How dare you? Come
I get
on.
to. Honestly, this is like such a highlight. But then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm calling games and also sending in stuff for the marketing team and also this. So it's a lot. And I just need to be able to get organized. So for me, I just need to find a calendar app that can help me get organized. Or just hire a secretary.
That works.
It does work. But yeah,
Okay.
what's your stain?
My stain. So I've talked about teams letting TV broadcasts cover.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm going to go to the radio side. As people know, I do a radio at Alabama. But I do like to like fill in the audience about the other school. I think that's very important to be aware.
Very. It is.
Even though it's like Alabama radio, like I prep for the other side. I tell stories. I've told the story about Devin Flaherty from FSU saving me from heat stroke one summer. Andrew Petty just flashed this comment. Gray and Tara have beef after the Tia Warsop bunt 7. No beef. In fact, I brought up, I think it might have been the second inning when Tia first came up, and I was like, Tara Henry, wonderful, unbiased reporter, but I bet she's sitting back there with an extra eye open. Then I, talked about Tia Warsop playing with the Great British. And there have been times where I have gotten a message or two saying, stick to Alabama. We stop complimenting the other team. And I just want to say, and this is a wider thing. Sometimes, to all the people out there, if your team loses, if something happens to your team, no matter the sport, sometimes it's not because your team sucks or stinks. Sometimes it's because the other team did something good and deserves recognition as well.
Totally.
We're not doing our jobs if we don't tell the story of both sides. This weekend, the Bama Bash is going to be multi-platform excellence for Gray and Tom. It is a single high camera because of all that's going on campus. We're early in the season. Basketball is late. Gymnastics is late. Everybody else. So, they're putting our radio feed through the SEC Network Plus stream. And I'm going to tell a lot of stories about Drake and Southern Utah and Virginia Tech and my boy Pete Demore, the head coach of the Hokies.
Let him know.
Had some fun times with over the years, chatting before TV broadcasts. He's a great guy. I can't wait. And I'm going to talk about the opponent because I want to do a good job. So that's how it goes. Thank you.
You should.
For popping in. I just I want to give credit to the opponent. Sometimes the other team does things well, just because you messed it up, y'all. And people in the comments of game posts, that's also a thing. Sometimes the other team executed. Maybe that's why what happened. I probably didn't need to flash this. I'm sorry, but Andrew, yes, they're on the Varsity app. And thank you, Mark, for the compliment.
And sometimes Gray takes videos. We'll see a video of a broadcast soon here sometime this season.
Episode 100 of The Dirt. I will flash a video compilation of all the bad moments that the GoPro caught.
Ugh, the GoPro.
Yeah. Look, such is life. We've chosen this life where we're on camera. We were live for The Dirt for an hour. Who knows what I said? I can barely remember.
How fun though. This was our first live show that we've ever done.
Yeah, we'll see if this lasts. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I like the safety net of being able to somewhat edit what I say.
This is the dirt. You got to keep it real. Keep it 100. 100. Yeah. Gray, I was talking about my dating life on here, okay?
That's true.
Anyways, I think this was a lot of fun. We had a lot of comments. I didn't have to beg for them. I don't have to go make my burner account, so I'm pumped. But make sure you like and subscribe to The Dirt. Make sure that you're liking and subscribing to all of Softball America's podcasts. I do another one called Diamond in the South. Gray also does another one. Do you want to give the shout out so you can put another $1 in there?
It's called Out of the Box. And here is a dollar bill, y'all.
I was like, should I say it? Should you say it? Does it count if I say it? I don't know, but yeah, I think it's always fun to see that crossover on all the other podcasts as well.
Yeah, and hey, send us more comments and questions. And look, I understand that y'all want to talk about softball, and I do too. I enjoy talking about this wonderful sport, but I also do it on like 4 different shows, and so does Nicole. And sometimes we do want to talk about like food and travel and stories and some of the background stuff. And as much as I love to analyze some of the teams, I would also like to tell the story of Tom and I driving back from Clearwater and stopping at 2:30 a.m. in Albany, Georgia on Monday morning.
I remember Tara sitting on the group chat and I was like, Where is he pulling over? Like, what is going on?
Got a
Like,
room. Got a room on the first floor, right by the door at the Courtyard Marriott, because the Holiday Inn desk person wasn't there. I walked in. There was a cop right in the front parking lot. I walk in, which maybe should have been a sign. I walked right in. No one was around, so I just got right back in the car and drove to the Courtyard. You know, got a little.
getting the Marriott points, huh?
That's right.
Run
Put
'em
in
up.
my number. Got a water bottle out of it, Aquafina, and yeah, you know, and then got in the car and drove, and then packed and went to Huntsville. I should have brought in last thing, and then we'll go. I should have brought in, so the Trash Pandas game last night. Alabama played Jacksonville State at the Trash Pandas minor league stadium. We have talked about
I almost
it.
called that, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm calling the Mary Nutter this weekend, but they had reached out.
Oh, that would
I
have
was
been
really
fun.
bummed. Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun.
So this event, the Rocket City Showcase, is more or less kind of like a test case to see what a big softball event would look like at the stadium. Cough, cough.
Mhm.
SEC softball tournament. So they also had Trash Pandas hats with the Trash Panda, which is, for those of you who don't know, a raccoon, with the logo in the colors of the schools participating in the event and with their logos on the side. So I got a really cool crimson Trash Pandas hat with an Alabama logo that I wore during the game.
I love that. How fun.
So yeah, there were
Only thing
others.
that would have made it, like, I feel like this is a great marketing ploy for them that they're missing out on. They should have, like, a regular trucker hat, but, like, a raccoon tail, like, hanging out in the back.
Is that what you
remember how,
think
like,
of the state of Alabama?
like, no, like, you know those Davy Crockett hats? You know? The Davy Crockett hats, and then it has, like, the little raccoon tail, like, hanging out.
Hold up. We got us a super chat.
Super chat.
Before we go, James says bye.
Bye. What was that one? Was that smooth jazz?
That was hip hop.
Oh.
Is it changing every time?
I feel like yes, maybe.
Okay, well, I don't trust AI or it's AI generated music, but we do thank Restream for showing our stuff. Do you have anything else? Should we wrap?
I think we should wrap on that note. Bye, y'all.
Bye. That's Nicole. I'm Gray. Thanks for joining us on The Dirt.
No, wrong way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I flipped my screen from last week. Let's go out with Future Pop. We'll see you next time on The Dirt.
I was going to salute in time to the music.
This is not the jam, but this is the end of the episode.